the second week of the North American Star League Season 4, and I thought maybe Zenio could take a look at those games, because I felt that PuMa played pretty damn good in those games, yet it wasn't enough. And then I feel that that has to give some confidence to Zenio that perhaps he can do it too. And it has to be frustrating for PuMa as well. That I mean, I definitely don't want to whine in TVZ right now, certainly not after watching the GSL recently.
Yeah, Korean Terrans really seem to be figuring out this matchup.
Don't really want to talk about the results yet, but let's say that Korean Terrans are doing pretty healthy as always in Korea.
It's surprising, honestly, because there's so much difference between the Korean Terran and the foreign Terran, and it really all boils down, in my opinion, just to the control and how well they can use those units and make their armies as cost-effective as possible.
Yeah. I don't know, because I still feel there are a couple of foreign Terrans. Of course, I agree with you, but I feel there are some foreign Terrans, man, and their micro is as good as it's gonna get. At least that's how I feel. While we see PuMa queuing up a couple of SCVs, so it seems like he wants to open up CC first, while Liquid Zenio on the other end wants to go hatchery first, which is of course a little bit more standard than CC first, but we see command center first quite often as well on Daybreak. Like there are still a couple of foreign Terrans, man, where I really feel their micro is almost as good as it's gonna get. Yet then somehow they lack macro on those perfect moments, or for them to have that perfect micro, they have to be so focused on it that they can't do the things that Korean Terrans can somehow do at the same moment as well. It's crazy how it works, and I don't have a logical explanation for it other than the fact that Koreans are just better.
You know, we had this argument. This is always the argument. Where does the foreign scene stack up against the Korean scene? And there were those hopeful guys back at the beginning of StarCraft 2 that said, hey, you know, we're going to be able to compete neck and neck with these guys. But the fact of the matter is, the Korean players just invest so much more focus, so much more time into their practice, and such a different mindset to their practice, I think, Kevin.
Yeah, I feel that's like the most important thing. Now, while we see the refinery going down for PuMa already, it's a quick opening. We'll talk a little bit more about that. You run a gaming house, Ben, and a couple of guys in there, they work really hard. They play a lot of games, yet you can just sort of see how stubborn foreign players in general are. Now, of course, this doesn't go for everybody. Some people are very open-minded and are willing to accept any advice you give them. Other people out there, they nod, they pretend like they understand what you say, but they will still completely ignore your advice. And I feel that's I feel that Koreans are in general much more open for advice from others and are willing to listen more than foreign players. I don't know, man. We just love to be stubborn. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's funny, but it's also very true, and I don't know where that stubbornness comes from. And you know, I also don't think that this quote stubbornness is something that's unique to the foreign scene. I'm sure there's a lot of that inside of Korea as well, but for whatever reason, man, these guys just seem to develop a little bit faster. And here we are, 2 years into the life of StarCraft 2, and that whatever edge they have in their development seems to have really compounded to be serious separation when you look at the top Korean players versus the majority of the foreign scene.
PuMa's going to open up with a couple of Hellions out of this factory. I'm curious to see, Ben, if we're going to see Starport follow up as well. Considering the fact that he's only mining off one refinery right now, it's definitely not going to be Hellions and Cloak Banshee. That seems to be impossible right now with his current gas economy, while Zenio just mined enough gas to get speed going and then pulled all drones off the extractor again and went back to fully mining minerals. Another command center going up already for PuMa. So PuMa's playing this very economic.
Very aggressive macro opening here for PuMa. Zenio continuing to drone up, getting that Zergling speed. He's not mining any more gas, so I don't think we're going to see any sort of craziness, any like crazy mid-game Baneling stuff out of him.
Small things, by the way, guys. If you're only mining from one refinery, always take the refinery which is more likely to get scouted. Because right now Zenio sees one refinery, but he can't see the other one. So it's harder for him to put things together. If you would be mining up this refinery and this one would be still unused, that's quite a tell for Zenio, and Zenio would be able to at least exclude a couple of strategies, like I don't have to worry about Cloak Banshee. Well, right now Zenio is going to have to worry about a wider range of openings.
That's a really good point there, Kevin, as we do see STEM being researched for PuMa and
that was an alt scan by PuMa.
Marauders being produced. We're going to see maybe a little Marauder Hellion poke. Very interesting, something that we see a lot from Polt's play. Polt played Dongregu yesterday at the North American Star League, used that Marauder Hellion build that he's been refining for so very long.
It's a quick layer over here, Ben, for Zenio. Did you see that scan go down by PuMa? I thought it was a very weird scan, as he had an SCV running around in the natural while two Zerglings were chasing it down. He threw down a scan in the natural.
I didn't catch that. I was more focused on PuMa's base, but that is kind of interesting. Maybe I don't really know. I
have no idea.
Yeah, I can't really rationalize it. Looks like Zenio's maybe thinking about that 2-base Muta style that's been making a little bit of a comeback
that's
here.
Pretty great, man. If he's able to get those Mutas out before the Marauders and Hellions arrive, then that's going to be awesome. But PuMa might just move across the map real soon, Ben, and then it's going to be a little bit tricky. What do you think Zenio should do then? Just try to get as many Banelings out as possible in a short amount of time?
Zerglings and Spinecrawlers, Kev, is a really strong defense against Marauder Hellion. The problem here is when you're on 2 bases, and as we do see the 3rd hatch going down, so that's good news. But when you're on 2 bases and you're investing in Spines and Lings, you're really impairing your economy substantially. Here comes
47 drones at the moment.
Here comes PuMa with those first couple of Hellions, and where are the Marauders?
Marauders are still...
where did they go?
There's 2 Marauders on the map. One is running around in the
bunker.
One is in the bunker, so that's pretty good news actually for Zenio, Ben, who already has a worker advantage, and right now only has to worry about these Hellions. With the Queens, he should be more than fine, and we can see the Spire is getting closer and closer. It's almost halfway done. So I think that Zenio is going to be able to get those Mutas out without taking too much damage. Woo! Don't attack your own Queen, man. Queen did nothing wrong. Was a good Queen.
She's trying to spread some creep, man.
Trying to spread love for your Republic, the Republic of Zenio.
In fact, PuMa didn't have any intentions of committing to a bunch of Marauders at all. I guess he just wanted those defensively. Now we see him pretty much committed to Marine production with more barracks being queued up.
Perhaps that's why he kind of threw down that Paranoid scan as well, Ben. Hoping to perhaps spot a Roach Warren behind the mineral line of the Natural, or I don't know.
That's actually a very real possibility. Zenio's going to have enough money for about 6-7 Mutas when
couple
the
of drones
finishes.
Pretty exposed over here. These drones will fall. A lot of Lings coming in
though. Almost a perfect engagement. And wow, Banelings make it into a phenomenal engagement there for Zenio. Kills every single Hellion.
Did lose the Banelings, so it wasn't for nothing. But it was still more than worth it, as he kept those drones alive as well. 10 more drones in production right now is going to bring his economy up to 61 drones. PuMa has been on triple orbital for quite a while, Ben, but he's mining off 2 bases. And that's something that's great for him, and that he had a good economy. But it's also kind of risky always, because that means that he's going to mine these 2 bases out quite early.
And PuMa has seen nothing that cues him to this impending Muta harass. No turrets anywhere on the map at all. He does have... Stim. He does have a decent number of Marines and medevacs popping out, but that is really not enough to deal with the mobility and the harass of these Mutas that are on the way. I think it's inevitable that PuMa takes some pretty substantial losses here, Kevin.
And Zenio is going to go up to a magic drone count after this. It's going to go up to 76 drones. Mutas are making their way over to PuMa's main base. As you pointed out, Ben, PuMa has Marines, but none of those Marines are in position right now. They're actually all so far south. This is a nice little hit squad, which could have dealt with these Mutas, but that's not going to be the case. So PuMa is going to take some SCV losses and also quite a bit of mining time loss.
Yeah, a small little contingent of Marines will manage to chase these Mutas up into a corner. If we look at the losses, we can see that every single Muta will make it out safe and sound. 6 SCVs have been killed. That's going to force a big reaction in terms of turrets, I would think, but PuMa's still not throwing down any turrets.
Zenio is making more Mutas than just this though, man. So he's not just going to go for a couple of Mutas then immediately trying to transition, kind of like we see Zergs often do against Protoss, which I think is a super strong playstyle against Protoss, by the way. But in this case, he's going to try to make more and more Mutas, so that's going to bring us back some old school ZVT style. And Ben, I miss those days. Do you remember the games we casted between Red and Torzane of the European Blizzard Invitational?
How could I forget, Kev? Just masses of Mutas every time you leave your base.
Yeah, there were like 25 Mutas in them.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
You lose just tons and tons of everything, as we have +1 finishing up for these Mutas. Kevin, the Muta count is going to be 17 when these next 3 hatch. That is a very significant number of Mutas. That's going to make it incredibly hard for PuMa to be out on the map. PuMa is out on the map, though.
A couple of Banelings are wiggling across the map, trying to make it home safe. That's not going to work. As you pointed out, PuMa is so far out on the map that once more he's going to end up losing a lot of SCVs, and he also needs a decent number of Marines to deal with all these Mutas. 2 of them are very low on HP.
PuMa's still keeping these 2 medevacs and however many Marines and Marauders he has out on the map in position. He's got to be a little bit careful not to get caught by some Zergling Baneling.
The economy of Zenio is so sick right now. Army-wise, I guess PuMa has a small advantage. Indeed, 11 army supply more, but if he's not going to be able to force the issue real soon, Zenio is going to overtake him, and Zenio's army is going to be really sick because he's on over 80 drones right now.
Zenio's doing a really good job with these Mutas, man. He's made them pretty effective. He's killed a grand total of 17 SCVs. That makes the worker count 81 to 61. That's a good place for Zenio to be. Now he just has to make the decision of how he wants to move forward through this mid-game. Bailing speed plus 2 armor both on the way. Whoa, so dangerous. And this is, of course, one of the primary reasons why we see Zerg players not always willing to play this style, because that Mutaball is your lifeblood. And if you lose it, well... game's kind of over. Big attack coming from PuMa around the top half of the map. What is Zenio going to do in response to it?
Love what PuMa is doing with a medevac as well, forcing Zenio to have quite a few links in his main base. PuMa is going to be able to take out this hatchery most likely, and also kill quite a few drones as he's forcing a cancel on a couple of these spine crawlers. This is a really good move by PuMa.
Textbook PuMa, Kevin. At the same time, he is dropping in the main base. That's being pretty much dealt with, though. Nice awareness there by Zenio, who still has to come up with some kind of an answer to this army in the top left-hand side of the map. He's lost a base. He lost a lot of drones, 12 drones in total, having been killed throughout the course of this game. Immediately, Zenio retakes a new 4th expansion. This time he's going to expand into the middle of the map. I'm a little sad that we didn't see a big Mutalist counter in PuMa's 3rd base. 1 bunker, 2 turrets. Is that enough?
Ben, I'm super surprised that PuMa is able to get an army of that size across the map without Zenio noticing. You can't help to feel, but that is a mistake on Zenio's behalf.
You're right. Overlords could have been put in better positions. Zelnaga Tower, something you're always kind of fighting for. As we do see, once again, PuMa out on the map. These mutas dangerously close. He is very aware of this army.
With 76 Marines, man. We have 17 Banelings, but we also have 5 siege tanks. I can imagine some really sick splitting being done by PuMa, and that Zenio has to be super careful by choosing the battle that he wants to fight.
There's only 17 Banelings, Kevin, and I really have to question whether or not that's a mistake, relying on such small Baneling numbers to deal with the infantry. As a little bit of a Marine hit squad here. We'll pick off 2 mutas. Very nicely done. For the cost. Almost kills a queen as well. Big push from PuMa on the top half of the map. He's got a really strong position, and he's going to start
all
to
the
push
tanks
down
are on
the
siege
creep.
right now, Ben. While he's dropping the main
moment.
base. Muta's actually in the main base dealing with this drop, so I guess that's the moment that PuMa decides to siege up closer. Wow, so risky though to unsiege everything, but he gets away with it.
Zenio's got to be so careful right now as this army is inching ever closer to his 4th expansion. 3 queens just sacrificed there. The 4th one going to go down as well. So
2-2 is almost ready for Zerglings and Banelings.
Zenio's just going to go for it. It's so, and he realizes the real danger there as he backed off almost immediately. Greater Spire is finishing right now, Kevin. There's a lot of Corruptors out on the map. We've got 8 of them.
He has quite a bit of money, has a little bit of gas as well, 1200, so he's able to make quite a few Broodlords, but it's not unlimited amount of gas.
It's not at all, especially when he's only on 3 bases. PuMa's done a great job of limiting PuMa's gas income by taking out that 4th base now 2 times. Here come the Broodlords. 8 of them are on the way. There's no more gas for PuMa.
Are they morphing?
That means they're at between the 3rd and 4th base. That means no more Banelings, no more Infestors, nothing like that. PuMa just can't afford it, so he has to be so incredibly careful with these gas units that he has out on the map right now. That said, Broodlords are going to do a great job of pushing PuMa back, who continues to harass at every single expansion.
Small little Marine hit squad over here as well, but he's going to be able to kill quite a few drones throughout this entire game. PuMa has killed 27, 28 drones, but now the Broodlords are ready, so these siege tanks will fall. PuMa immediately is going to evacuate, and on the same moment, Zenio is going to try to roll in.
Zenio wants to take a fight here. PuMa does drop the big
so many Marines, though.
That's a great choke for him to fight in. Zenio forced to disengage there, Kevin.
72 Marines still on the map.
Just massive Marine numbers. The Pathogen Glands is done, so we can start seeing a transition over into Infestors.
Coming in once more. PuMa doing a pretty good job at making this as hard as possible for Zenio. Zenio is not just able to swarm around this army. Reinforcements coming in for PuMa as well. There are so many Zerglings, and since these Broodlords are too slow...
Certainly run by tried at the 3rd base, but that got pretty hard shut down. Bunker doing a good job there. PuMa very quickly to respond with the repair.
Unit's last resource step shows us, Ben, that PuMa has been super effective so far throughout this game, as Zenio lost 2,500 resources more.
The mountain, as we have another little engagement kind of trying to shape up here in the bottom half of the map.
Poor Mutalist.
Loses 1 Muta. Where's the vast majority of the army? It's all in the middle of the map. 6 Infestors on the way. Zenio's done a fantastic job keeping up in the upgrades, Kevin. He's going to be 3-3 here soon. Which is just very impressive given the fact that he made so many mutas.
Evolution Chamber is quite low on HP though, but I guess it will finish as PuMa is going to try to focus drones instead, and an Extractor.
Mutas do come in to clean this up, but not without some losses.
3-3 Marines, man.
3-3 Marines. These are like Strelic Marines, Kevin.
Strelic IM China Marines, like, they do 15 damage a shot.
Standard as finally this does get cleaned up. That muta count is really, really dwindled. Of course, this is the stage of the game where the mutas aren't that important.
I love this, by the way, of a Terran. 3 starports, 2 of them with reactors. He's able to produce 5 Vikings at once and have been doing so for quite a while. His air upgrades are a little bit late, but he is working off double armory, so he's going to be able to get good upgrades for those stores and Vikings as well. As we can already see, +3 on the way for the Taurs, and Vikings are working on 1 attack and 1 armor.
Both these players cruising along at very high speeds. 250 APM averaged by PuMa, about 230 averaged here by Zenio.
This is going to be pretty tough, man. I think it's going to be so hard for Zenio to engage. It gives me flashbacks of last night where I watched Linok versus Stasia on Cloud Kingdom. Never mind. Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to spoil anything for the people who haven't watched the VOD VODs.
Zergling counterattack squad around the bottom half of the map, going to try to find some openings, and he might actually hit one as PuMa's whole army is up at the top half of the map. All these command centers will be forced to lift, and this is enough lings to kill that bunker and clean up all the units here in this third base.
It's clear they have adrenal glands.
Yes, it is.
Don't tell me these links do not have adrenal glands, man, because I can see it.
As 2 command centers are lifted, the entire
Look at this
army
bunker.
of PuMa coming back. That bunker's going to go down as well. A lot of SCV losses as PuMa's a little bit slow to respond to this. Finally,
wow.
He's going to show up, but those
Don't
are
let the Vikings.
Massive, massive losses. Great moves here by Zenio.
With a couple of links, killed so many. Oh, look at these command centers, man. They're so low on HP. He's going to need to draw some mules. Meanwhile, the Broodlords are moving forward in the middle of the map. Wow, this is great play by Zenio.
Yeah, just spreading out PuMa, giving him a taste of his own medicine. Those command centers still burning, by the way, Kevin. 3 CCs all in the red, and there's nothing being sent to repair. Vikings trying to repel these Broodlords and doing a good job of it. 1 command center is about to burn down.
I have it selected, so we'll see Broodlords trying to come forward. Banelings are exploded, of course, by those tanks. PuMa doing a very good job so far, not letting his army get fungled.
1 command center does crash and burn there, Kevin. That's a really big deal. Finally, PuMa sees it and sending some of his own units over there to repair it. Another big fight here in the middle of the map. Broodlords trying to engage. Thors and Vikings working in unison.
Really good fungal. Hits quite a few Vikings. It's so tough for PuMa. PuMa has to be so extremely careful, man, with all those Vikings. He has 17 Vikings, but we all know how quick they can die. There are 15 Corruptors on the map and 9 more in production. That's crazy. How often do you see a Zerg with 24 Corruptors?
There's a massive Corruptor number. He really needs it to combat these Vikings, though.
That Queen was ready for action. Queen was like, guys, go! That's like one of those FPS moments where you're like running in.
That's like me whenever I play Dota, man.
Follow me! That's like you in paintball. You're like, Kev, go for it! And then I run in and bang, doesn't give backup fire. And I get shot from all directions.
Man, paintball was so much fun. Can't wait to play again. As Zenio still trying to lay siege to this forward expansion. But PuMa doing a good job of holding the line. Another Zergling run by.
Those fungals are pretty damn good. He's going to try to renew them, but he has to be so careful as there are so many tanks.
Vikings taking so much damage, and this might be the moment for the Broodlords to move in as the Viking count dwindling dangerously low.
Good fungal once more. There are so many Corruptors on the map for Zenio, man. What can...
this is just fantastic army control by Zenio. You really have to applaud him for keeping everything so well organized, using only 8 Broodlords and a high Corruptor count to keep the Viking threat at a minimum.
Broodlords are running sort of thin now, Ben, as the Taurs are dealing a decent amount of damage as well. Good shots right there on those Corruptors, but there are still so many Infestors. There are 50 Marines in production at once. Fantastic macro by PuMa, but when is that moment going to be, Ben, that he can stim below with all those Infestors? I don't see it happening.
And how long can PuMa keep this up, Kevin? We see his money is not that high, and Zenio is just banking so many resources. I feel like he can definitely persist with this siege while PuMa is not going to be able to withstand the defense for long.
He's so active with his army, as you said, man. Really excellent army control by Zenio. It's so easy to just try to A-move in and see if you can win or not. But he's doing this so well. And yes, PuMa is doing a fantastic job at hanging in there. But as you said, Zenio has the bank to do this for days.
Corruptor is taking a little bit too much damage there as Zenio going to have to back up a little bit.
There's only 1 Tor remaining right now, Ben, and those Tors is really what he needs.
Zenio just using this time to expand more and more around the map and sending more Zergling counters around the bottom half of the map. Marine's going to try to make something happen here as they are going to dance forward. Really nice fungals by Zenio. Huge fungals going down. PuMa does manage to kill quite a few Corruptors and Broodlords. but I'm not sure that it was really worth it, as Zenio's still up at 180 supply. PuMa dropping down to 110 as more Ling's going to try to counter around the bottom half of the map. PuMa trying to position these Marines in the bottom right to deal with the Zerglings, but just not quite going to be enough. And Zenio continues his path of destruction through
Oh, look how low HP some of these morphing Broodlords are, Ben. Even though I'm not sure if it's gonna matter, as Zenio's up 100 supply, but this could be a nice break for PuMa. Wow, those fungals.
One down, and the second one's gonna fall as well. Actually, that's a great exchange. Third Broodlord getting picked off there. So that's nicely done by PuMa, but Kevin, what does he really have left to continue with this?
I feel really sad because I felt PuMa played an excellent game. I really felt he did.
PuMa must hate Daybreak, because I feel like he plays these epic games on Daybreak and there's just nothing he can do.
Look at these links.
Against the inevitability of this kind of just relentless Broodlord assault. Yeah, Ling's just going crazy. This is like somebody stepped on an angry anthill.
Yeah, it's like they come up one by one and they die one by one. Zenio takes game number 1 on Daybreak, despite
nice
really
play.
good play by PuMa.
Yeah, really nice play on both sides. I was so impressed with Zenio's late game army control.
Yeah, that was very sick.
Dancing the Corruptors and Broodlords in and out, thinning out the Viking count oh so patiently. Like you said, it's so easy to just be like, all right, I've got a great army.
You land like 1 or 2 fungals, then you back off, then you do it again, and at that moment, like, well, everything is kind of low on HP right now, but then suddenly you always have this moment where the Marines are spread out well, and suddenly Terran is able to fight and really release the true potential of that army in the DPS. But Zenio just kept dancing back and forth, while sitting on that huge economy. He did a really fantastic job. And I really can't criticize PuMa for all that much, as I felt that PuMa played a really good game. It's just, I guess Zenio's army control was a tiny bit better, but...
Yeah, PuMa's play was phenomenal. But like you said, Zenio's was just a little bit more phenomenal. That game brought to you guys by Kingston HyperX. Their full line of solid-state drives and RAM is available for you at kingston.com. Head over there today to make your purchase of Kingston stuff. Don't go anywhere. More StarCraft 2 coming up. Zenio PuMa game number 2 after this short break.